Well, look, thank you everyone for coming tonight. It's an amazing turnout in a beautiful building, and yeah, it's otherwise been a boring day, right? So we've going to have a number of quick series of speeches, a very short presentation. It'll all be speedy. Hopefully there are canapes still coming and circulating. But I just want to invite, so we're going to have the first talk from the chair of the advisory board, Dame Patricia Hewitt.
Thank you very much indeed, Shiv, and thank you all for being here this afternoon. It is just wonderful to see so many friends, supporters, and interested people here to talk about Forest City. Now, there's a new consensus, really, isn't there, in our country at the moment? Incremental change isn't enough. We need bold, radical action. We need new ideas. We need big change, and we need it now. I promise I am not auditioning to be the Prime Minister. One or two other people doing that. But what I am saying to all our political parties, all our political leaders, look at Forest City. Ambitious, visionary, but doable, as this wonderful new report that we are launching today demonstrates. I'm a baby boomer. I'm a very lucky member of the luckiest generation that we have ever seen in this country. And I think it's up to those of us in my generation not to try and defend our privileges, not to spend our time whinging and complaining about the state of the country. I think it's up to us to get behind the entrepreneurs, the innovators, the change makers of the younger generations. I'm ambitious for our country. I'm ambitious for East Anglia, which is where I have my home and my family roots. And for decades, governments have been wrestling with the challenge of how we as a country capitalise on the quite extraordinary concentration of technology and science and sheer brainpower and creativity that we have in our country, world-leading technology and science, much of it, of course, in Cambridge. And the government that I was part of, a quarter of a century ago, as Secretary of State for Trade and Industry, we were wrestling with that very challenge. Now finally, things are really starting to happen. The Oxford-Cambridge ARC is a big step forward with the government's commitments to new towns and the East West Railway. The UK Innovation Corridor will connect two of the world's most innovative cities, Cambridge and London. And what Forest City would do is extend and enlarge both. And it would spread prosperity, jobs, growth across the east of England, enabling the infrastructure that is so badly needed and generating the wealth and, yes, the tax income that we so urgently need for our country. And above all, it would do it in harmony with nature. A 21st century vision of a city that can create wealth, but also meet the greatest challenge that our planet faces. So I want to thank everyone who's contributed to this major report, or expressed support or interest in other ways. And if any of you aren't yet sure, yeah, this is a very big ambition, can it be really done? We understand that. But please look at the report, read it with an open mind, share your views, your ideas, and your questions with us. I'm looking forward myself to a future King's Speech that features Forest City.
And now, thank you very much, Patricia. And now, where's John?
I'm
Is
here.
he in? There you are. Right, would you
Yeah, sure. Very good evening, everyone. My name is John Brown. I'm the MD of Innovation Nursery. We're a 140-acre space in Cornwall that invites brands to collide with misfits, creatives, scientists, weirdos, to sort of reimagine how we might eat better, make better, and build better in the future. I've now got a 52-slide deck for you all, so Lene, if you can lock the doors, that'd be fantastic. I'm actually going to start with a bit of a provocation. I'm alarmingly convinced that if something doesn't change, I think we will be the first species in history to be wiped out because someone, somewhere, didn't file the right paperwork. Why is that? I think it's because we've ignored a fundamental, exciting question, and that question is what if? Now, as a society, we seem to say a lot in political contexts, in media, we seem to talk a lot about what was, an almost sort of romantic obsession with the past. And whilst there is joy in that and there's importance in reflection, actually if you apply that to a space like Cornwall, with 27,000 people on a housing waiting list, and 30% child poverty, and 60% of people coming into Cornwall being economically inactive, maintaining the status quo and reflecting on what was is not good enough. It's not going to change us. It's not going to improve our local economy. This sort of lack of progress as this result of relentless reflection leads us to another question. When people start seeing the status quo not working, they start asking themselves, well, what now? And what now is another troubling question. It invokes a sense of panic, a sense of real concern. I imagine just down the road, there's a few people asking, what now? In an exasperated, breathless sense of despair. It's also fraught with a sense of a short-term time horizon, what now? This sort of panic, knee-jerk reaction to something, a sort of fix that doesn't really fix anything, a kicking the can down the road until we all sort of kick the bucket. So that leaves us with what I think is the most important question of all, which is what if? What if evokes a sense of hope, of ambition, of rambunctiousness? It's not a comfortable question to ask, what if? And actually, that's okay. It encourages challenge. It invites healthy conflict, and we should be up for that challenge. But it's a profoundly important question. It's how innovation occurs, how invention manifests. By asking, what if? It's fundamentally how societies evolve. So, why are we here sponsoring some rather delicious ribeye canapes? Fantastic.
I haven't had any yet.
I've had 15 of them. I'm sponsoring that in a wonderful room and a wonderful. Why are we here? Why are we sponsoring this? Why are we a part of this? Because I think what Shiv and Joe and Patricia and the team of Forest City are doing is encouraging us to ask, what if? And that, for me, fundamentally gives me serious hope. So enjoy your evening, and if there's one thing that I hope we take away from this, it is that sense of asking ourselves, what if, a little more. Thank you.
John, thank you so much for that wonderfully thought-provoking speech. I'll be turning that over in my head for a long while yet. So, you've been seeing these slides behind us circulate and wheel through. The people who have created them are here. It's Tom Holbrook from Fifth Studio. Where is Tom? He hasn't gone now. He hasn't started. Right, would you like to come up, Tom? And you're going to, you'll explain.
Sure. Thank you. So, I guess my name's Tom Holbrook. I'm an architect, urban designer. I'm from Cambridge. I'm an East Anglian. And we're serial proposers of new cities. We've had a few goes at it, and as Patricia said, suddenly this is coming into view. Actually, other people are interested in what we've been banging away about for a long time. And some of the stuff that we're showing is very tentative. It's very early days. Clearly, this stuff is emerging, but it's research, and it's really about the DNA of a possible place that could emerge in this location. This is one of the first sort of moments where this place is located in a landscape. And I guess we're looking for some of the, cities need foundation myths, right? We don't have 7 hills like Rome or Croydon. So this is a place where there are extraordinary things, and it's subtle. East Anglian topography is a subtle game of rays, and even some of the maps have its x-axis slightly tweaked, so you can begin to see the elevation. But there are amazing things here, and I guess what is there to work with that a city could emerge from? What materials could we have? Well, first of all, there's the forest, the eponymous forest. So there are amazing remnants on the site already of something that was really significant. And I guess, the site on the clay, there are 3 ecologies. There's the clay land, which was heavily forested at one point. There's the chalk escarpment that divides it from Cambridge. And then there's the fens. And that really is a very distinct sort of set of things to work with. And then there are 3 rivers too. So there's the Lark, there's the Cam, both of which eventually flow into the fens and then out to the Wash. And then there's the Stour, which is that kind of English chocolate box river that Constable paints when it gets further into Suffolk. And that's going out to the east coast. These are all really sort of potent things that a city might be made of. And I guess this is like our tea towel image, or sort of tourist map, of how really talking about the city side of things. So talking about a city, not a garden settlement, not a garden town, but a city from the start. So those things that we all love about cities, intensity, mix, stuff really banging up against other things, unfamiliar things, innovation, new ways of seeing things. But in this case, all amongst a forest. Quite an extraordinary opportunity to bring that kind of nature and culture divide together. So I guess there's some pretty potent things. Infrastructure, of course, Cambridge, famously one of the driest places in the country. So starting off with thinking about how you tackle water, thinking about how one might start to deal with transport, which is an East Anglian issue. It's not just local to how might you connect a city up to a train network. But East Anglia has an extraordinary kind of gap in terms of its kind of rail resilience and its connectedness to other things, including the East Coast ports and the cities around the country. So there's lots of reasons why this is good for the country as a whole. If you compare this area to the Netherlands or to Belgium, you can see that there really isn't enough infrastructure comparatively. And then materials, what might you, this is an area, that doesn't have a lot of stone. So what could you make a city out of? What's the kind of local terroir that you could build something out of? These are all questions at the moment, but really interesting ones. And then relationships, of course, to places like Haverhill, which, if you live in Cambridge, is a really, really important place because it's where so many people who service the city now live. So, and then shockingly, lost its railway station. At the moment, it became a kind of new town. So how do we get that back? How do we retrofit places like Haverhill so they have the infrastructure that they always should have had? Anyway, there's lots to talk about, but I'll leave it there and hand back over to Shiv.
Thank you, Tom. So, just give me 1 sec. We did actually manage to print up the report. It turns out it's pretty big. It's big enough to fend off doubters if we need that. Unfortunately, we weren't able to print out a few more copies to kind of give as at least as commemorative gifts or sell them because we need the money. So that's for next time. The best part of this job is advocating and leading the Forest City 1 project is that I get to talk to people. I get to hear about their hopes, their fears, and also the problems that they face. So one of the first people I spoke to was a guy called Tom, who works flat out in a garage in Suffolk. But he could never contemplate buying a home, because even the most rundown 2-bedroom house near him costs about £200,000. Then there was a professor I met, who arrived, she had to arrive every morning at a department 2 hours before she needs to. Why? Because she has to fight for a place on the train, because there's only one train track between Newmarket and Cambridge, and they can't put any more trains on. Or there was the leading biotech company who moved out of Cambridge because of the expense of lab space, only to move to a town, Haverhill, without a train station at all. And now their employees sit in traffic all morning. Or there's the other British startup that I spoke to last week that creates rare earth minerals out in beakers. It's absolutely astonishing, the breakthrough that they've just accomplished. But they want to move to the US now. Why? Because they can't punch a few more holes in the ceiling to get industrial vents for their lab space. Insane. Or they have to wait years and years for planning permission. Or there's new homes in Cambridge. This was probably the most shocking, where the taps have no water in them. Because no one's built a reservoir in decades, right? So all of these stories have a common thread. Giving those individuals £1,000 or even £100,000, well, that would be nice, but it wouldn't help them solve their problems, right? Benefits or bungs won't do a job. These are problems of infrastructure, coordination, bureaucratic permission, or strategic planning that no individual or business on their own can fix. They are just the sorts of problems that government is meant to solve, but it's failed to do so for far too long. And now it's a crisis. It's undeniable, absolutely undeniable. And there is no growth, there's no rejuvenation of our economy without these problems being fixed. It's that straightforward. For the last 6 months, a small band of volunteers, all area experts, working pro bono, have been trying to figure out whether we can solve many of these problems at speed, at scale, and through a singular coordinating project. That project is Forest City. The city is, as Tom and Patricia have said, geographically located in this amazing set of intersections. There's 2 strategic economic corridors, east-west rail, the proximity to the UK's largest port in Felixstowe, and right beside one of the greatest universities in the world. And, should it get better, it will deliver 400,000 homes, millions of new square footage for business and startups in that lab with the extra vents, new schools, new hospitals, trains, roadworks, water infrastructure, tens of billions in growth and jobs for generations, and of course, England's largest land-based nature reserve. Yes, it's really ambitious. But not only do we believe that the report we've launched demonstrates Forest City's feasibility, it also meets the moment we're in. Big problems, and my God, our problems are big, need bold, ambitious solutions. Not just a signal to the world what we're capable of, not just to practically resolve the problems with the extra venting or more trains for the professor or Tom's hope to buy a home, but to renew our own belief as a country that the future will be better than the past. Remarkably, over the months, this group of men and women working on the report have been joined by many others. An outstanding board, thank you Tim, as well, thousands of supporters, and tonight we draw together people in this room, many of whom have the ability, resources, and the desire to help bring Forest City to fruition. Look around and you'll meet politicians, landowners, investors, builders, developers, lawyers, architects, environmentalists who see something special in what we've been doing. It's amazing and incredibly humbling to have you all here tonight. To want to act, to be optimists in this moment, it's courage indeed. Over the next few months, we're going to push to enhance the support with MHCLG and others so that we can move on to this phase 2, answering the massive detail as part of our master planning process, and truly demonstrating exactly how Forest City gets delivered. It's a big job. It's a really big job. Where's Steve McAdam?
Hello.
It's currently currently his responsibility to start putting that all together now. But tonight, after many months of work, it's a night really for joy and for giving thanks. So, firstly, thank you to the specific report authors, some of whom are here, some of whom couldn't be here, unfortunately. Priti, James Gleave, Bertie, Ed, James Donovan, and Rob. Joe and I have been in absolute awe of the time and dedication you've given to this. We also want to thank the more than 30 others who've helped contribute to this project, many of whom are here tonight. All the way from, is Eric Sorensen here tonight as well? Did you mention? He is amazing, thank you. And Patrick Schumacher from Zaha Hadid, Patrick, thank you as well. Tara Austin, I mean, I won't go through the entire list, but thank you to you all. And also to tonight's sponsor, Innovation Nursery, thank you so much, John, and the team for giving us the encouragement and being a facilitator for ideas and discussion through all of this. You guys really do live up to your name. And of course then Tom Holbrook and Fifth Studio. Thank you for all the many hours you put into creating this amazing visual asset for Forest City, and for also giving me a much deeper understanding. I've had the 45-minute lecture, so it's a much deeper understanding of Cambridgeshire's history and geology. And there are many others that who can't be here tonight, including, of course, Tim Smith of the Eden Project, who's been so generous with his counsel. And also to add the indomitable Molly. Where's Molly?
Yeah.
Okay, you are. She's just been absolutely fearless and highly organised in ensuring that everything always seems to come together at exactly the right moment, effortlessly. So thank you. And of course Joe, who was supposed to come there tonight, but I put him on gimbal duty, so he has to do the videoing. But I just want to thank you as well, because you also, like me, but less so, more so, have a full-time job. Finally, advisory board, Tim Loynig, Paul Johnson, Steve McAdam, Jackie Sadek, who can't be here tonight, along with Paul, unfortunately, and Dame Patricia Hewitt. And a special thanks as well to Steve, who's just put in so many hours trying to bring this to life. You've all been absolutely wonderful. I've seen you guys in meetings, and wow, you're master operators, and I would not want to sit on the other side of the table from you guys. So thank you for being such great warriors for Forest City. Let me end by saying this. We started this journey about 6 months ago, And the energy to see this through has grown week by week. It's been quite incredible. There will be setbacks, and there have been setbacks, and bumps along the way, and there will be more of those. But let there be little doubt about our desire to get this going. We live in a remarkable country with remarkable people who invent, create, and foster remarkable things. It's quite unique, it really is, and it's quite precious. We're all inheritors of that legacy, but every day we also walk the frontier of a new path. We make the future, so let us make it as remarkable as we know it deserves to be. Thank you.